Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Freelance Friday podcast and another opportunity to talk about what's new in social. It's been quite a while since I've done one of these episodes, and I'll give you a really quick, 30-second update on what's new with this series. I am very excited to announce that in the new year, I'm going to be back to doing these once a month, the first Monday of every month, as a live stream for my members only. I'll have more information about that if you click down on the join button. The long story short, the reason that I want to do these as a members only live stream is because one, I want this to be more of a service where I can actually help you through live calls and community interactions to figure out how you can make these new updates work for you and your business or your clients. And two, I don't want algorithms or censorship to dictate how I'm telling these stories and my commentary around these stories. I'll, of course, be posting clips to the main feed. So if you don't want to join, that is okay. You'll still see what's new on my channel as it makes sense for me to share, but wanted to share that quick update. And let's have one more in the traditional recorded style. Let's start with Facebook. The big news recently is that the metaverse is cooked. That's what they say according to CNN. I love the verbiage there. Shares of Facebook shot up 7% early last week in response to a report that Mark Zuckerberg, the CEO, of course, is slashing the Metaverse team's budget by as much as 30%. Now, the Metaverse is something that was this sort of COVID era concoction. There was this whole weird video I remember with a beauty influencer that came out, lots of other influencers, I'm sure, but essentially it was going to be this third space, but it was going to exist virtually. And I personally, you guys let me know what you think in the comments. I have not heard anybody adopt this. I have not really seen any normal day-to-day people use it. I keep seeing this number on threads floated around saying 900 people were on the metaverse. I cannot confirm that. That sounds really, really low. I don't know where that number's coming from, but the point is there were not many people on the metaverse, and so they're cutting the budget. This article goes on to say it's not hard to see why Wall Street's so thrilled. After 4 years and billions of dollars wasted, the metaverse, a feature that Zuck believed in so deeply and that he renamed the company after, is more or less cooked. It's cooked, y'all. The thing never made much sense, even when he dramatically declared the metaverse would be, quote, the successor of the mobile internet. The company initially set a goal of 500,000 monthly active users by the end of 2022. And according to the Wall Street Journal, Meta revised that goal by nearly half later that year. So it's never a good sign when you're halving your goal, right? That's a sign that you are so far off from your user goal that it's just not going to happen. So we're going back analog, we're going back offline or just normal online maybe, but the metaverse I think is a little bit too online for people and they're not having it. Another thing that's going to be interesting, I think, particularly for social media managers and community managers, is that Facebook will now allow nicknames when posting in groups. Now, this is something that actually works and that actually moves the needle for real businesses, real brands, real creators. I've had so many people on my podcast this year and who I've talked to, and my own experiences show that Facebook groups still work. We don't need a metaverse. We just want a place where we can meet people in our community, meet people in our industries, talk about things, have fun, share resources, and so on and so forth. So Facebook is adding a new naming option in Facebook groups where members can now go by chosen nicknames in the group discussion. So like I said, I think this is going to be really helpful, especially for social and community managers. So instead of having to, go into a Facebook group on behalf of my client as Latasha James, I could go on as social team at blah, blah, blah business, or community manager at blah, blah, blah business, or maybe just LJ or Latasha, and not necessarily have my whole personal identity out there. Now, with that said, it does tie back to your profile still. So it's not fully anonymous. Now, there is an anonymous posting option in Facebook groups that I think it's up to the group moderators to decide if you can use that. If you're posting something that you don't want tied back to your personal life, then you should use the anonymous feature. So keep that in mind. But it is nice just not to have, necessarily my name front and center, especially if I'm representing a different brand, or maybe I just want to like talk about music and not have people look up my YouTube, and so I just want to be like music fan 1, 2, 3, or whatever that may be. Okay, another thing that I'm quite excited about on Facebook is they're creating this new program or this new feature. Let's see, what's it called? It's called Content Protection, and they're heralding it as your new creative guardian on Facebook. It essentially works if you're a YouTuber and you know how YouTube's content ID system works, it's just like that. So they say in the press release, behind the scenes, content protection continuously scans Facebook and Instagram for matches to your protected Facebook Reels, whether they're full or partial matches. And when we detect a match, you'll get notified and can review details about the matching content, such as views, follower count of the account, and more. And then you can decide to take action all within the Facebook app. So you have to sign up, you have to opt into this system and choose which of your reels you want to monitor. But I think this is great at just, monitoring IP as best you can. I get them all the time on YouTube. People just download my full YouTube videos and then upload them to a new channel. And it's nice because I can just click like send takedown notice and do all of that right within YouTube. So it sounds very similar for Facebook. All right. Let's go on to Instagram. There's a lot going on here as always. Instagram. Okay, this I'm very, very excited about. They have watch history on Instagram Reels now. So this is a new tool that lets you scroll back through all the reels you saw over the last 30 days. And to access the watch history, you just need to go to your profile, then the settings menu, your activity, and watch history. You can scroll all the way down to find that and sort from oldest to newest or even by author. I love this because I don't know if this is a glitch on Instagram for me or if this is like their new strategy to try to like make it more like TikTok or something, but whenever I log on, I'll see something that I want to click on or like want to watch, and then it disappears. It like goes up really fast and I'm like, "Wait, I wanted to watch that." So, I think technically I got a view, so it should be in my watch history if I want to go back to it. They've also updated the Reels camera with some improved functions, and it sounds like the major update here is that they allow for 20-minute recording now in the Reels camera itself, which allows for, according to Instagram, allows for more creative freedom and longer storytelling. Now, this article from Social Media Today makes a very interesting point. They say that Instagram has repeatedly stated that it will only recommend reels that are under 3 minutes in length. So while you can post longer videos, their distribution will be limited due to Instagram's preference for short videos, which are driving all of its engagement gains. So just because you can doesn't mean that you should, I think is, the point that they're driving home here in this article, at least. And I would agree. I think it's great. And I think the reason that Instagram is allowing this longer shooting time is so that you have more takes and more to edit, in particular using their edits app. I don't think they're necessarily saying post 20 minutes, but also we'll see because I'm, always like a champion of long form, and I always believe at the end of the day, the short formers are going to want to be long formers. And, so we'll see, but that's quite interesting. And this is another article from Social Media Today. They highlight the fact that Instagram has added competitor insights for professional accounts, which is awesome. So these new competitive insights are now being rolled out within your professional dashboard options. And how it works is you can choose up to 10 accounts to compare your performance against. And then you'll get side-by-side comparison data on relative follower growth, posting frequency, etc. So I love this feature. I love competitor data. I think it's, how you sort of benchmark your performance and how you can kind of, get new ideas on what to do, what not to do. Make sure that you're growing at a rate that makes sense for your industry. And it's something that I've been doing for all my clients through Metricool, which, as you know, is the sponsor of this show. You can always use my code Latasha, Latasha, at the link down in the show notes to try Metricool, any of their pro plans for free for 30 days. But they've got an amazing free plan as well that I want to take a second to tell you about. As a social media marketing professional, you need a central management hub to plan, schedule, and analyze your digital marketing strategy, and you don't need to do it in silos. So if you listened to the podcast before, you know that Metricool has been an essential part of my business for over 2 years. creators and is an indispensable resource. But what you may not know is that they have a completely free plan, which allows social media marketers at all levels to plug their brand in across all channels to schedule and auto publish 50 pieces of content a month, analyze your social media and website performance, view and reply to DMs, comments, mentions, and Google business profile reviews, launch advertising campaigns across Meta and Google, create a link in bio page with smart links, find the best times to post for your specific brand and maximize engagement, and yes, analyze up to 5 industry competitors and monitor other brands' strategies. So be sure to create your free account and unlock the magic of Metricool without the confusion of why your strategy isn't performing or the stress of monthly fees. Perfect for those looking to dip into social media management or take control of their own personal brand's strategy. Let's talk about Threads. This is kind of a funny one. I don't know if if you're a Threads user and you see people sometimes posting like, okay, Threads, send me all the girlies who like knitting in Seattle. Or, okay, Threads, stop showing me MLM content. I'm sick of hearing about it. Or like whatever. I see that all the time. And I think people are being a little sassy and funny with it. But I kind of think it works. I clearly don't know how algorithms work. I'm not an algorithm scientist, but my theory is that it draws attention from people who exist in those spaces. And then, the more comments, that signals to the algorithm. So it kind of works in its own way. But Threads they have heard enough of that. And they're going to actually allow you to do it through their own algorithm. So Threads is testing a new way for users to manipulate their own recommendation algorithm. The feature, aptly called Dear Algo, allows users to post a message to the algorithm with the note Dear Algo, asking to see more or less of a certain thing. So this article says, for instance, you might post, Dear Algo, show me more book recommendations, or Dear Algo, stop showing me basketball updates. My team is bad and it makes me sad. So there's that. And another Threads update is that they've enabled group chats. Probably since the last time we've talked on this show, you may or may not know that they've enabled direct messaging in the app itself, but now they've also created a group chat feature. And what I actually like about their group chat feature is that you can either add people, the traditional way by typing in their username, but you can also share a link. And I think that's kind of interesting. It gets my wheels turning a little bit from a business perspective of maybe this could be like a fun perk that you could do. Like, I don't know, similar to how I'm going to do this update series as members only content, at least for the live stream version. You could do like members only Threads chats or something. I don't know. Who knows how people are going to use it? Let me know if you are. But also could just be fun for like, I don't know, I'm in a mastermind. I'm in multiple masterminds, right? And I see a lot of business content, a lot of marketing content on Threads. So could be a good idea to start a group chat on there. We'll see. Now, before we go fully into X, we've got some news for both Threads and X. And it's not looking great for X. Threads has beat X in the number of average daily active users on mobile devices worldwide for the first time. This happened in October, according to similar web data, with the Meta-owned platform garnering an average of 128.2 million users per day, while Musk's X had 124.7 million users per day. So they're close still. But the story here is that Threads has finally outpaced X, formerly known as Twitter, at least on mobile. And honestly, it happened kind of fast. I mean, Twitter has been around for ages. I mean, I was on Twitter when I was in college. Threads has only been around for a couple of years now. And they go on to say that the usage trend has continued for over a year as Threads has steadily increased over time while that of X has dropped. So again, according to this similar web data, Threads' number of daily worldwide mobile users has increased 48% year over year as of October, while X's has dropped 16%. So it's just the trends are not looking good for X. Something else that's not really looking good for X is this new country based in feature. It's causing a lot of uproar. So they rolled out this feature that basically allowed you to see where, which country or which region accounts were based in. They quickly took it down, which was interesting, and then they put it back up. X users have discovered that some of these accounts, especially these kind of like provocative, political accounts, are not even based in the United States. And this matters, right? Because we've seen this whole foreign influence on politics thing happen back in 2016 or whenever Meta got in trouble for that before they were even Meta. And so, this is something that's important because I mean, this is one of my most hated things about the internet right now is that you can't say anything without somebody coming and, attacking you for saying it wrong. And if people are stirring up conflict in American politics who are not even able to vote in American elections, it just makes you go, hmm. X users discovered that the account at American, which had a US flag, a bald eagle in their avatar, it was not even a user from the United States, but instead someone posting from South Asia. Another account called Mariana Times presented themselves as a US citizen who spoke out about wanting to deport New York City Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani because, quote, we want a nation and not, quote, a foreigner who has not, quote, assimilated into American culture. While their avatar had an Israeli flag with an AI-looking woman standing in front of it. Why the AI-looking? Okay. X's new feature revealed that Mariana is actually posting from India. I love that YouTube has this feature. I think Facebook does too, if I'm not mistaken. You can go onto the page and see about this page, and I'll say where it's from. It's sometimes helpful in detecting, what's a bot or what's spam. And I want to be clear, being an X account from India does not mean you're a bot. But if you are posting as if you're an American fighting for American values, like that doesn't make sense. I'm not going to pretend to be an Indian citizen fighting for Indian values in America. You know what I mean? So something's a little off there. Okay, let's go on to TikTok. Just a quick update. I don't want to spend too much time on this because the update is TikTok's here still, but I think some of us lost a pulse. We dropped our attention from this TikTok ban, basically that first time that it was saved, that it came back, but it still is technically ongoing. And as of as of today that I'm recording this on December 6th, we've got about 10 days before something needs to happen. So either President Trump needs to file another extension, an American company needs to buy majority ownership. Something still technically needs to happen because the fourth deadline for the app to be sold to US partners or be banned is set to expire on December 16th. So it's very likely that if a deal is not reached, President Trump is just going to extend it again. But it is, again, just a reminder that we're not technically in the clear. The sale has not technically been reached at time of recording this. And again, I don't think that we should be terrified or anything like that, but we should definitely be diversifying our content. Use YouTube Shorts, use Instagram Reels, use Facebook Reels, whatever, just to make sure that you don't lose all your content and lose all your audience if another ban happens. TikTok is also releasing a nearby feed. So again, thinking of this Metaverse story at the beginning of the episode, we're seeing that trend kind of continue to this more local, more offline / online hybrid experience as opposed to living fully in the clouds on the internet. So the nearby feed helps people explore what's happening close to them, from discovering local creators and trending spots to everyday moments that reflect their community. You can also explore different locations. So if you're going to be traveling somewhere, or if you kind of split your time between places, you can just change your location, following a couple steps. Sharing your location is optional, they say, and easy to manage. It's available only to users who are 18 and older, and people can choose to turn it on or off at any times in their settings. I don't know. What do you think about this? I think it's kind of fun, especially for local businesses. And yeah, definitely for discovering new things to do. I know that TikTok is a place where a lot of people go to discover things to do when they travel. So I could see this working really well. Very happy to hear, though, that it's not available if users are under 18 years old. Safety first, y'all. Safety first. Be careful with that, even if you're over 18. Got some interesting YouTube news. Well, not that interesting. I don't know. It's the season of Wrapped, right? Spotify kind of started this Wrapped annual tradition where you get a summary of all music that you listened to over the years. YouTube is doing something similar. I actually haven't checked mine out yet. I'll check it out and put some of mine on the screen for you. But well, maybe not. Maybe not. I watch the most embarrassing YouTube videos. Like, you guys would think I was a different person. A lot of political stuff from all sides of the spectrum. So you would never, be able to clock me, if you will. Like, you'd be like, wait, I didn't know you were. Yeah. Okay. So maybe I won't put mine up there, but it features up to 12 personalized cards that highlight a user's top channels, interests, and the evolution of their viewing habits and personality type assignment based on their watching preference. I will show you what mine is. Personality types include skill builder, wonder seeker, connector, and the dreamer. The users can find their recap directly on the YouTube homepage or under the U tab. Recaps are accessible on mobile devices and desktop. I got tagged in a few of these. Thank you so much if you're one of the lovely viewers who tagged me in yours and who I was featured in. Thank you. That was so cool to see. And the annual American Social Media Use Report is out. This is by the Pew Research Center, so they are like official. And once again, YouTube is at the top. The vast majority of US adults, this is 84% of them, say that they use YouTube. When I tell you that your audience is on YouTube, your audience is on YouTube. Now, we can argue, and like something that we have to put our analyst hat on, right? Yes, people sometimes use YouTube, but maybe the frequency that people use Instagram or TikTok or Facebook might be higher. Like, people probably check TikTok 20 times a day, whereas some people just log on to YouTube once a week or once a month. So we do have to keep that in mind. But the point is, people from all age groups are on YouTube. They do have YouTube accounts. They are the only sites, this is YouTube and Facebook, sorry. These are the only sites asked about that a majority in all age groups use. Though for YouTube, the youngest adults are still the most likely to do so. So it does skew a little bit younger when we're talking about all the social platforms. Facebook, as we know, skews a little bit older. So keep that in mind. Your audience is on YouTube, I promise. And the last story I want to end with is about LinkedIn. I started seeing whisperings of this. They're calling it the bro boost on LinkedIn. There are some women who are finding their LinkedIn traffic explodes if they pretend to be men on that platform. Isn't that wild? So, according to this article from The Guardian, dozens of women joined a collective LinkedIn experiment recently after a series of viral posts suggested that for some, changing their gender to male boosted their visibility on the network. In a blog post last week, LinkedIn acknowledged the trend, but said it did not consider, quote, demographic information in deciding who gets attention. Instead, it says hundreds of signals factor into how a given post performs. So yeah, people are changing their names, changing their gender. Some people are even like, putting mustaches on and like taking new profile pictures to try to see if it picks up on facial recognition signals. Like, it's wild. And I just keep seeing anecdotes of people saying, wow, like my previous reach was this and now my new reach is this. And it is interesting to say, like, correlation, causation, I don't know. If we're going to believe what LinkedIn is saying, there is a possibility that maybe just a big profile change triggers more engagement. So maybe I don't know, maybe I'd be curious to know if anyone's like gotten married and changed their name on LinkedIn. Have you seen a profile increase, even if you still were a woman? Like, if you didn't change your gender, but you just updated your last name, or, job changes, we know those kind of signal some attention from the algorithm, right? I would assume. So it could be that, but a lot of people are calling it like the bro boost. And they're saying that maybe the platform's kind of rigged against us. Another theory, I think that was acknowledged in this article, is maybe just people, unfortunately, on the LinkedIn platform, which is all about professional networking, still view men as sort of the authority in that space. Like, they still would rather take career advice from a man than a woman. So it might be related to actual user preferences than the platform itself. I'll leave with a quote by Simone Bonnet, an Oxford-based social media consultant who has recently changed her pronouns to he, him, and her name to Simon E. She said the kind of stats that I'm seeing at the moment are a 1,600% increase in profile views, which is wild if you think about what social media looks like at the moment, and a 1,300% increase in impressions. So, yeah, I mean, to her point, like, if this is true, I mean, that's money in the bank, right? And that would be really unfortunate if the platform were rigged. Again, I think it's probably due to just more societal things and or algorithm signals, but I'm not trying to defend. I have no skin in the game. I'm not here to like, cape for LinkedIn. It could very much be true. Who knows? Let me know what you think though. And again, if you want to join these as a live stream and take part in the chat and also get access to Q&As with me, members only, you can just click the join button down below. For my podcast listeners, I'll have a link to it for you in the show notes. They will be taking place the first Monday of every month, unless of course it's a holiday, and then we'll figure out either doing it, a day before or day after. But yeah, we'll be doing these live stream style once a month, and then a Q&A as well, so we can talk about how to actually incorporate some of these new updates and just any other social media updates and things that are going on in the world into your business. And I want to be essentially your social media consultant, your right-hand person. So this will all take place on YouTube memberships. I think it'll be really fun. But thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Let me know what you thought of the stories. Leave me an emoji if you stayed till the end. And I appreciate you being here. Thanks to Metricool for sponsoring. Their link will be down below as well. I'll talk to you in my next episode. Bye.